the first day I started listening to it, my first thoughts are just like, "What in the heck are we doing here? Some girls are bigger than other. What the heck are we talking about here?"
Are you ever going to revisit the Smiths? Are you going to listen to them, or is this like got it? The Smiths, check, done. No need for any more exploration on my part. So few bands have been as influential to modern music, especially modern indie music, as the Smiths. This band has just such an interesting history, and in a decade in which big hair, big synths, and then even in the punk, post-punk world, like angrier guitar and jagged sounds were the prominent sounds of the day. They carved out this space for the awkward, the bookish. So without the Smiths, are some of our favorite bands going to sound the same? Blur, Radiohead, Pulp, Phoebe Bridgers, always the 1975. Like their influence is everywhere, even if you've never heard of them. Now, my good friend and co-host Josh Best is it fair to say little to no frame of reference before doing this of the Smiths? Is that fair to say?
Very fair to say, little to no reference.
So, this band was active for a very short period. They were very prolific within the 5 years from like 82 to 87 that they were active. But we were six. Like we were six when the Smiths broke up. So I didn't listen to them as a kid or as a teenager even. It wasn't until my 20s that I started to get into them. At this point, I absolutely love the Smiths. So what I did was I curated a 15-song playlist rather than assigning like Josh an album or anything to listen to. I just put together some of my favorite Smith songs and songs that I thought, okay, this might endear the Smiths to my friend Josh. So we have a first timer here, never really having any frame of reference for the Smiths, and I'm so interested to hear what you think about them. I will also put up on the screen, if you're watching the video version of this, the list of songs that I did pull. Smiths fans, if you are angry about any of my omissions or selections, please put those comments in the comments section so we can have a little bit more of a dialogue. And then maybe Josh could look back and be like, okay, maybe he gave me a dumb list because I don't know. These are my favorites, but 15 songs, manageable enough. You've been listening to this thing for what, 2-3 weeks?
Yeah. 2 or 3 weeks. I've been, playing this playlist almost every day. I'd say the first week, definitely listen to it every day. Then, life happens and you don't have as much time to listen to music, but I've definitely listened to them a lot. And the last few days I've been really, really getting into that playlist.
Did you enjoy this? Did you enjoy listening to the Smiths for the past 2 to 3 weeks?
I did. I did. Gosh, it's so funny. Like the first day I started listening to it, my first thoughts are just like, "What in the heck are we doing here?" I think I sent you a text. I was like, "Is it okay if I just totally roast this singer and this band and is that going to hurt your feelings?" But the more I got into it, I just think that's maybe the kind of band they are, that if you're picking it up 40 years later where you're
Mm,
not immersed in the time and the culture of what's going on, then maybe it's not something that's going to grab you at first listen. It's
yeah.
got layers and you need to give it some time, and upon first listen it may not be as appealing as after you spend a little time with it. But yeah, overall my experience is I've enjoyed it.
Did it sound like when you heard it? Did it sound like novel? Did it sound like I don't think I've really heard much like this before? Or at this point, like you said, 40 years removed, does it sound like, oh, I hear the DNA in this all over me and this isn't that familiar? Or did it still kind of sound fresh in its own way? If that question makes
Here,
sense.
I'll maybe answer a couple of questions with this. Is first of all, I think out of those 15 songs, I may had only heard two before, one or
Okay.
two, where I heard the song and I'm like, okay, I'm pretty sure I've heard this song before. Definitely Panic. That was
Mm,
the first song that was on the playlist, and I'm like, "Oh, okay. Well, I've heard this before. I didn't realize
okay.
this was the Smiths or whatever." And then what was really interesting is knowing when this music came out, I could hear I could hear this music in Radiohead and Blur. I was like, "Oh gosh, I hear that." It's like the same kind of guitar lines and the effects on the guitar. And it was like, "Ooh, okay, I see where that came from." So that was fun,
Yeah.
hearing that.
That's cool. Yeah, I know what you mean. It's for me. It was like it's similar to when I first got into Blur. I didn't have a frame of reference for what Blur was building upon, so it just sounded like this thing that was from another planet entirely. And then later, when I got into like more of the Kinks, like mid later stuff, and then like XTC and bands like that, I was like, oh, okay, I can kind of hear a little bit more of what they were pulling from. But if you don't have that frame of reference, it just sounds like it's from another planet entirely. So that's cool. So let's go ahead and start with what you liked. Are there were there certain songs, certain moments, certain vibes about the Smiths that stood out to you? What was the good of listening to this over the past 2+ weeks?
What I like about the Smiths is I like their stripped down, raw, clean sound. I like music with synthesizers and effects, and so it's kind of refreshing to listen to that style of music where there's none of those effects or synthesizers. I didn't do enough research to like try to find any video footage of the Smiths, but
Mm,
I just hearing them, I
yeah,
can tell they had to be entertaining live, and I bet they
yeah.
were fun. So those are things that I liked about the Smiths, and like in talking about individual members of the band. I love a lot of the music, um, and I like Morrissey too. I
Mm.
like a lot of his melodies. Some of his melodies I didn't care for at all, but for the most part, I like a lot of the what the guitars and drums were doing.
Morrissey's clearly like just unique. If you see them live, they also did have a visual aesthetic that was different from everyone else at the time. They look relatively just like normal guys, I would say, to them to a certain extent. I mean, Johnny Marr kind of has always this mysterious thing, and he was so young when the Smiths were doing their thing that you're just like, gosh, how old is that kid? And he's probably as young as you think he is. But yeah, I mean, Andy Rourke's bass is something that, like, after I listened to the Smiths over years, it's just like that guy. I'm just always amazed at what he's doing. It's really good. And Mike Joyce, obviously a great drummer. So that's cool. It's funny. There were some songs on here that I was like, I don't know whether he'll like this or not, but Panic, obviously, I thought, okay, that's just a solid. That's kind of a banger. Like, I feel like we could start the playlist off there and you're going to be into it. Songs like This Charming Man, I thought, okay, that's a winner. You're going to like that. Some things I just think like some girls are bigger than others. I just think that's funny. I don't know if it plays. Like, I don't know if that played for you or not. I'm not sure if that was one that stood out. Frankly, Mr. Shankly, I don't know if that one was going to resonate. Like, there was someone here who's like, I don't know if Josh will like these, but yeah, any of those that I mentioned, did any of those kind of stand out as like these were some of my favorite songs on the playlist?
Yeah, here, let me give you a list. Here's the songs that I really liked: Panic,
Mm,
How Soon Is Now,
yeah,
That Joke Isn't Funny Anymore,
yeah,
Big Mouth Strikes Again,
yes, yes.
and I don't know if I'm pronouncing this right, Vicar in a Tutu.
Yes, Vicar and a Tutu.
Yeah, I like that song a lot. And Started Something I Couldn't Finish.
Awesome. Yeah,
Those are the
that's
those are the
good.
standout tracks that I really liked. The
That's
ones
great.
that I did not like, actually, I put songs I can't stand. Not only do I not like them, I just cannot stand. Some girls are bigger than other. What the heck are we talking about here? I mean, I read the lyrics. I was like, surely there's something in there. There's not anything else in there. Just some girls are bigger than others. There's no reference here. I'm like, are we weighing the girls? What are we talking about? I don't know.
Some girls'
Um,
mothers are bigger than other girls' mothers.
Evidently. I mean, then another one I didn't like is I want the one I can't have.
Okay, yeah.
And this might be a surprise. I didn't know. I don't like Heaven Knows I'm Miserable Now.
Okay, really?
I don't like that song. So, you know what it is? I think the common threads of the songs I don't like are the the songs that like have three notes. I'm just gonna sing these three notes over and over. I didn't like those. I need some more out of the melody. Like Heaven Knows I'm Miserable Now. I like those lyrics. That's a clever
Mm,
song.
yeah.
I like the lyrics. Clever. Don't like the melody.
Mm.
So I just don't want to hear it anymore.
That's interesting. You know, Morrissey's melodies often have like a tight grouping, like you said. Like sometimes the notes are like if you're reading them, you know, on like sheet music, they would have like really tight groupings, and they would kind of like bounce around the same handful of notes. So you know, that's an interesting thing that you picked up on. I think that is true of a lot of Morrissey's lyrics. But I do want to talk about Morrissey because Morrissey's quite the controversial figure. Some people love Morrissey, some people hate Morrissey. I am one of those people who it's like, look, I think the guy's kind of a dick, just to be honest with you. But I love what he did with the Smiths. And there's even a lot of Morrissey solo stuff that I really like, that I think is really good. I think that he's kind of a contrarian. I think sometimes he likes to do things just to piss people off. And so like I kind of try to like make a difference between the personality that Morrissey has become and probably always was versus the dude who is just singing the songs and writing the lyrics. What are your takeaways about Morrissey after listening to the Smiths for this period?
I think that he's probably a great frontman for all the same reasons that you said. You know, like especially a frontman in that time in the '80s, where you're coming out of punk and you know the giant arena rock and punk of the '70s. Like the frontman, like just has to dominate all this attention and you know, so I think Morrissey does that stuff really well. And like I said, never seen video of one of their concerts. I can just imagine from what the energy he's giving on the record, you know, and I pick up a lot of that. So you know, I think he checks all the boxes for being a front man. He's super interesting, entertaining, energetic, eccentric. You know, I would say I'm a fan, even though he has some songs that I'm like, I could care less if I never hear that song again. So I think that's kind of cool that you can be that polarizing. A lot of the lyrics are very strong. So, you know, I even like his style of singing. I have no problem with that. It's for me, it's really like some of his musical choices of just writing melodies is what I have a problem with.
All that being said, I think the $1 million question here is, now that you have been exposed to the Smiths, like, are the Smiths among bands that you will listen to now? Like, are you going forward? Are you ever going to revisit the Smiths? Are you going to listen to them, or is this like, got it? The Smiths, check, done. No need for any more exploration on my part.
Gosh, you know, I'm leaning towards check the box, got it. But there's some songs like How Soon Is Now and Big Mouth Strikes Again that I feel like I could put that in my playlist right now, or, you know, click it on my liked songs. Hopefully that it will reappear one day and I'll be like, cool, I like that song. So I wouldn't say I'm never going to revisit them. I will say this, in my spending a lot of time with the Smiths over the last 3 weeks, I was never like, oh, this song's off that album. I want to listen to
Mm.
that album start to finish because I need more from the Smiths than what I'm getting from this 15 song playlist. So I would say that would be the most telling statement of what my experience was like.
It never prompted your curiosity enough to go look further into what they were doing.
Right. Is
Fair.
that
Okay.
bad?
It's not bad. It's honest, and that's what you're here for. I will say, from my end, uh, love the Smiths. I love this band. I've talked about Morrissey, but Johnny Marr is, like so many people. Obviously, I played guitar for years, and Johnny Marr is just one of those guitarists who was making these choices that were so unlike anything else that anybody was doing at the time. Incredibly influential. Not easy stuff to play. I'm not saying it's the most complicated or most intricate, but he had a style of his own, which I think is the most difficult thing to do in music. It's like, it doesn't have anything to do with chops or anything like that, but it's just about his choices and what he did. I have this Mars Guitars book up on my bookshelf here, where it's just this book about all of the guitars that he's had over the course of his career, where he dives into them. Did really cool stuff with Modest Mouse, played with the Cribs for a while, obviously worked with Hans Zimmer. I mean, the guy's had a really cool career. I love hearing him talk. I could listen to him talk all day. You didn't know any of this listening to it, but those two guys, they they fucking hate each other. Like Johnny Marr and Morrissey, there's so much bad blood. Every few months, every couple years, there's like somebody offered the Smiths, millions upon millions of dollars to get back together, and they just can't do it because they hate each other so much, and they badmouth each other in the press all the time. It's kind of the gift that keeps on giving. If you're into the Smiths, is like, even though they haven't been together in almost 40 years now, there's still this never-ending drama that goes on between the two of them that plays into their mythology, and I absolutely love that. You do have a few bands that are like in this era and maybe a little bit before, even a little bit later, that you haven't done a deep dive on, that we can take this opportunity. So if you're watching this, if you're interested in hearing somebody who has no frame of reference for some of this type of music, if you want to know thoughts, then leave it in the comments. Let us know what other bands you would like to hear first time listen of. Let us know what songs that I screwed up on and I should have included, or that I included that are like, why did you add that to a list, to try to convince someone to be a Smiths fan or try to introduce them to the Smiths? And overall, let us know your thoughts on the Smiths. Is Morrissey a blowhard? Am I wrong in that assessment? And what do you think? Do you think there will ever be a day when the Smiths actually get back together? And if you've enjoyed this video, please like the video, subscribe to the channel. It really does help us when we get subscribers on board. And yeah, if you like the podcast version of this, you can check us out in podcast format as well. We're all over the place. We're going to keep the content coming. And thanks again. We'll talk to you next time, buddy.